So beautiful. We lived around Duwar al-Si'a. Duwar al-Si'a is one of the Duwar in Ramallah. There's another Duwar al-Isbu'a. We used to live by Duwar al-Si'a, next to the old hospital in Ramallah. Well, the house we lived there is my dad built it. It's next to the old hospital from one side, and next to the مخيم الكدورة في رام next to the حسبة في البيرة, next to like I said مستشفى القديم, next to دوار السيعة, 2 minutes away from دوار السيعة. We used to look at the Si'a, and the Si'a was never working. Never. Maybe it was too high for people to come and fix it, or maybe we didn't understand how to tell time. We used to go to church every Sunday with my mom. I was baptized in the كنيسة اللاتين. I remember my dad used to take us to church and sit outside the church, and my mom used to take us to church. It was a beautiful time, except the bombing and the Israeli people, yes. Well, the war started in 1967. I was born then, and I was a baby. We didn't understand any of it. But before I came to America, when I was 15 years old, we've seen all of that. We've seen it. There's something called منع تجول, meaning you cannot leave the house until the Israeli people tell you to leave the house. And it used to be for days. You sit around in the house and nothing to do. We didn't have phones. We didn't have computers back then. So it was a little boring. We used to play with the kids on the streets. Well, we left Ramallah not knowing that we're not gonna go back to Ramallah. It was something new, and the reason we came to America is because my dad needed medical attention. And we came to America. My family, they were in America, in New York City. And I continued going to high school, even though I didn't speak any English. It was hard for us to, I understood what people were saying to me, but I could not answer them back. And I finished high school in America, in New York City. And after that, I went to college. And I found that languages is not easy for me to learn or even to study. So I went to study sciences and math, and I graduated with a science degree. Well, when I went to college or I went to high school, the kids they talk back to the teacher. I've seen one child was hitting the teacher. This is, of course, a no-no back home. And then when the teacher comes to the class or the principal comes to the class, I remember we used to all stand up and say, good morning, or have a nice day. It was always respect. But in America, I didn't see that in school. No respect whatsoever. Now I am a teacher. I'm a teacher. And I make my student, when the principal comes in, or when other teacher comes in, at least say good morning. But these kids don't know how to say good morning. Why? I don't know. How hard is it to say good morning? Stand up, good morning. It's hard. Yeah. And the way they dress wasn't appropriate for us. And sometimes I used to dress like them, and my dad says, no, you cannot go like this. You cannot dress something that is not appropriate in our culture. Right. We cannot do that. We cannot say the nasty words or the cursing words. We cannot do that. Which is okay, and that's the way I'm raising my kids these days. Well, I met my dad and my father-in-law are best friends back home, and when I met my husband George, I went out with him a couple of times, and of course my brother says you cannot go out with him. So they agreed to go out with him a couple of times, and we talked for 2 weeks, and then we decided to go back home and marry each other because his parents were living in Ramallah. And it was beautiful. I had no regret marrying him. He's still my love of my life forever. The Ramallah people were still the same. The way they talk, the way they dance, the weddings was still the same. Very old-fashioned weddings, which I love. I admire that. My father-in-law was alive and my mother-in-law was alive, and it was the same traditions with the gold, and I love it. And after I came to America, after my weddings, I had my children, and I remember ever since I used to take my kids to Ramallah every year. All my 5 kids used to be part of the drummers for Easter time, all 5 of them. And now all 5 of them do they're part of the dabke. And some of my kids, they know how to read and write Arabic, which I'm so proud of them. They speak Arabic to me, I speak Arabic to them. I've never ever spoke to them in English, even though when I was doing homework with them, it was always in Arabic. Well, it's like a freedom for the kids. They play everywhere on the streets. For them, it was safe. It's not like here, be careful the cars, be careful somebody kidnaps you. Over there, it was peace for them. And they love it ever since I took them there. They were, 2, 3 years old, and they love it. They just love there. And every year they said, Mom, are we going this year? Are we going next year? They love it there. I have my brothers live there in Ramallah also. My brothers were part of them growing up also. Well, I love the Ramallah people to stay there. I love the old building of Ramallah people, the old houses, the old traditions stay in Ramallah, even though we are the minorities back in Ramallah. But I keep telling my husband, once we retire, I want to go live in Ramallah. I have a very, very old traditional house that I love so much. My kids love to go to Ramallah also. Mostly when we go to weddings, when we go to baptisms, everything is still the same. Everything. I just want the younger generation to continue this tradition. The parents need to keep in their mind that we are Ramallah people. We speak Arabic. We are Christian people. We need to speak Arabic. We need to go to church. We need to know our traditions. We need to continue going home, continue doing the dabke dance, continue doing the drums. We have the priest in Chicago. He's Syrian. And I said to him, Abuna, can we do the drums this year? And he says, what is that? I said to him, when we go for the Easter, Good Friday, or the Palm Sundays, we do the traditions, dance, and the drums in front of the group walking. He says, yes, show me pictures, and I did, and he says, yes, continue this tradition. Even though my kids are a little older for these drums, but I make them come and do the drums. My son is 19 years old. He carries the big drums, and he starts doing the drums, and everybody else follows him. We have a house there already, a very, very old Ramallah house. I'd like to keep it the way it is, not change anything with it. I have the very old key to the house, the very big old key to the house. The windows are very old windows. I love it, I love it, I love it. Well, my feelings is to be a Palestinian from Ramallah is something you should be proud of. We have a good traditions. We have, the people in Ramallah are so good. Our dances, our history of Ramallah you cannot compare it to American. We have a strong history. We need to keep it like this. Even with the young generation. That's why good to come to conventions every year. Encourage your kids to come. Let them meet each other. I love my daughters to stay with their Arabic friends, with the Palestinian friends. We have a good group of dabke girls in Chicago. I love my kids to stay with the Arabic people. I love it. Well, growing up with the Jewish attacking us, this is very hard as a 6 or 7 or 8 years old to see all of that. You have hatred in your heart for these Jewish people. Even though we're Christian, we're not supposed to hate. But when you see somebody that bombs your house and kills your families, how are you going to love them? But you have to, as Christian person, you have to love them. Going to Jerusalem from Ramallah is about 7 minutes, but the borders they make the borders so difficult for us. They treat us like a second citizen. Come on, guys, this is our country. You came from Europe attacking us, taking our land away from us. Is this fair? I wrote a poem about being a Palestinian, and I put it in the Hadihi Ramallah magazine. It's about being born in Ramallah. What is exactly Ramallah about? Duwar al-Si'a, Duwar al-Isbu'a. What is mostly about our traditions, how we used to cook, how we used to dance, what we used to wear during the weddings, what the men used to wear, how to treat the brides, what the bride used to wear. This is something nice. I think this is something nice. And now one more thing is I'm writing all the amthal about Ramallah, what my grandmother used to say. I collected already 205 mathal, or say, about what my grandmother used to say about everything. So I collected 205 mathal. I'm gonna publish it in Ramallah magazine.